Get started today, I actually want to express my gratitude for the amazing breakfast that I've been blessed to consume earlier this morning. Who else enjoyed a healthy breakfast, brunch, or morning tea this morning? Give me a thumbs up. Fabulous, good. Now, according to actionagainsthunger.org, nearly 1 in 10 people around the world go to bed hungry every night. It's a crisis driven largely by conflict and chronic inequality. Displaced populations due to conflict reached unprecedented levels in recent years. The UNHCR put the global number of forcibly displaced people at over 82 million at the end of 2020. So just imagine what it must be today with what's happening in the world right now. SBS News reported that if the world were to accept Australia's definition of homelessness and include everyone with inadequate shelter, there would be over 1.6 billion homeless people scattered across the globe. That's around 20% of the world's entire population. The World Bank reported that in 2019, approximately 9.2% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty. That's defined as living on less than $1.90 a day. Can you imagine? According to worldpoverty.io, which provides real-time estimates until 2030, 629,436,545 people are and will be living in extreme poverty. The World Health Organization reports that at least half of the world's population still does not have access to essential health services. We've gotten ourselves into a very sad and sorry state as a collective humanity, haven't we? So let's all just take a calming collective breath. I've just shared our current reality, but we don't have to stay here. And now I'd like to share with you what the future could look like. In 2011, I took a quantum leap into a future reality, and I saw a very different world that we were living in. I saw a world that was in peace, a world where every single person had their basic needs met. They were fed, they were housed, and they were healthy. Everyone was happy, peaceful, powerful, and on purpose. Their life had meaning. It was a world of oneness, compassion, and connection. It was a world in peace. No war, no conflict. All human beings from everywhere living peacefully together as one humanity. Now, just a few years before my time-traveling adventure, where I witnessed this seemingly utopian world, the Dalai Lama famously said, "The world will be saved by the Western woman." Now, at the time he said it, I actually suspect that he was specifically referring to the panel that he was in discussion with at the time, that consisted of a former Irish president and peace activist, 2 winners of the Nobel Peace Prize, and an American Peace Prize winner, all women. The world will be saved by the Western woman. I believe more broadly that he actually meant each and every one of us, each and every one of you. You are here to change the world in your own special way. And by doing so, you will be helping to bring into reality the future world that I saw. Today, I'm going to share with you exactly what it's going to take to create this utopian-like peaceful world that I've seen. It starts with you, it starts here, and it starts now. But first, let's start with me, because who the hell am I to tell you what the new world looks like and how we're going to start creating it together? So to do that, before we go into the future, I want to turn back time and revisit the first few years of this century. I'd just finally had my second child after 3 miscarriages. I was in a marriage that was falling apart, a career that was exhausting. I was overweight, unhealthy, and I was very, very, very unhappy. And somehow in amongst all of that, I just knew that I was meant for more and that this wasn't how life was supposed to be. It wasn't how life was supposed to be lived. And I say lived, but really I was not living, not even close. I was just existing, experiencing my own version of Groundhog Day over and over and over again. Waking up early to get to work, to come home to cook dinner and tend to the family, to sit on the couch and fall asleep in front of the TV, to then wake up and go to bed in order to wake up the next day. And guess what? To do it all again. And then I heard something that changed my life. A friend said to me, and I'll never forget it. He said, happiness is a choice. And I literally could have slapped his self-satisfied smirk right off his face. I mean, really, if happiness was a choice, why the heck would I not be choosing it right now? And then I decided to try to prove to him that he was wrong, because I'm a little contrary like that. I decided that I was going to research happiness just so I could show him that happiness was not a choice, that it was something you were lucky to have, and that if you didn't have it, that was just where the cards landed for you, and you couldn't do anything about it. Boy, was I wrong. What I did discover in the books and courses and happiness workshops that I attended was that I could indeed choose happiness. And there was just one thing that I needed to do, according to all of the gurus and the spiritual masters, including the Dalai Lama, on the stage at the Happiness Conference in Sydney that same year. And that one thing was to meditate. And so I started doing that. And meditation led me to a spiritual awakening, which then led to me unlocking my innate abilities and becoming the healing and spoken word channel for the teachings of all that is, which then led me to search for meaning and purpose, and then eventually led me to that moment in time when I was shown the future world in peace, where I was given my mission statement: world peace through inner peace, one person at a time. You see, the future world that I saw started right here today, in our time. And it started with each of us individually cultivating an unfuckwithable or unshakable level of inner peace. Peace so profound and deep that no one and nothing can take it away from us. Creating a frequency of peace that rippled from one person to another until every one of the billions of people on this planet was vibrating at the frequency of peace. And billions of people vibrating at the frequency of peace are a people who will no longer tolerate or even create a world in which any person does not have their basic human needs taken care of. No homelessness, no poverty, no hunger, no conflict, and no war. A peaceful world. World peace through inner peace, one person at a time. And it starts with me. So I then took about a decade to study what all that is had taught me and what I had learned about our future peaceful world when I visited it. I did what I needed to do in order to embody that unshakable inner peace. And today I want to share with you how you can too, because the path to inner peace is where your true purpose and your personal power are found. I know without doubt that your purpose, your true purpose, is to make your own unique change in the world. And that change that you are here to make will contribute to the future world that I see. This is the path to happiness and inner peace that I've taken. I'm laying it out for you as an invitation to start and to follow my path, or to create your own path. But please, just start. The journey or the path had 3 steps along it. Number 1 was raise your own vibration. Number 2, mind your own vibration, hence the name of my book. And number 3, take your vibration with you. Now, I only have time to share with you a very small part of the path in the short time that we've got together today. So I want to share with you what I consider to be the absolute number 1 most important, nothing else matters, raise your vibration. And yes, I could talk about dancing and listening to uplifting music, and I could talk about affirmations and mantras and the law of attraction and all the other vibe-raising things, but I'm not going to. For me, those are surface level. And I want to go deeper. We need to go deeper. In order to experience inner peace, we have got to let go of and heal our past. And this is the way to raise your vibrational frequency, to truly raise it, not so that you're up and then down and then up and then down and then up and a little bit higher and then down a little bit lower and all of these things, but a steady raising of your vibrational frequency so that you can, as my friends Abraham Hicks express it, have a new vibrational set point and be raised up and to stay there. We must stop dragging our past behind us and bringing it into the now moment, where we then recreate it into the future. Now, we're not just doing this personally in our own lives, the whole entire world is doing this. So lean in and listen up as we talk about you. Are you happy? Is your life turning out the way you want it to? Or are there things in your life you want to change? How's your relationship with money, with your partner, with your kids or your parents? How's your relationship with your friends? I can tell you one thing. Anything that is happening in your life that you are not choosing to have happen in your life right now is the result of just one thing. And that one thing is trauma. Now, before I go any further, please let me explain to you what I mean by trauma. Trauma, as I speak about it, is subjective. Big trauma, little trauma, it's all the same. And it is what it is to whoever carries it. We don't judge trauma in my world, and we don't compare it. Bigger or smaller makes no difference. So let me show you what I mean by that. My client Mary was sick and tired of experiencing romantic breakups over and over again. So she actually came to me to help her figure out why her partners kept leaving her. When I merged into her energy field and became one with her, I was immediately shown her at about 1 year of age, or under 1 year. She was in her first year. And she was crying in her cot as her mother stood outside the closed door. Now, Mary was just a baby, but in that moment, knowing her mother was not coming to help her, and with her focus on herself because she was feeling so bad and upset, she made a negative decision about herself, and she was left feeling abandoned and alone by her mum. Now, her mum was just doing what mums did in those days, and perhaps you did it as well, but no blame or shame here. Controlled crying, it was called, right? I know I did it myself as well, and there are still people doing it today. Now, you probably had that same moment in your life or something similar, and perhaps it had no effect on you at all. But for Mary, she was recreating the past into her current and future relationships. That's why I say what I say about trauma being subjective, right? It is what happens, what it is to the person who experienced it, and all of us experience it differently. I've certainly had my fair share of trauma in my life, some big and some small, some very much in the past, and others, like the deaths of both my mum and my firstborn son 12 months ago, much closer to home at this point. Now, I share more about some of that in my book, Mind Your Own Vibration, where you can read the channeled teachings of all that is on how to become an enlightened change maker through cleaning out our trauma so that we can become the new human, which is a being of light in physical form, walking this planet in service to our purpose and creating a peaceful world. In the book, I share some of my story and my traumas, and I share how I healed those traumas so that I could step into greater and greater levels of courage to be my true new human self. As I continue talking about trauma, I want to invite you to become aware of any unhealed trauma or upset that shows up for you, because that sometimes happens when I'm talking to people. Just jot it down, okay? When we have a moment of trauma in our life, on an energetic level, what happens is that we create what I lovingly call the trauma twins. We have a moment of trauma that makes us feel bad. We suppress the bad feeling, and then we make the moment of trauma mean something about ourselves. And because we're feeling bad, the meaning we make is always something negative. We essentially create two negative personalities. Some might even call them blocks. So we create the trauma twins, and those little devils are held as stuck energy within the personal energy field. The suppressed feeling stuck in the emotional body, and then the belief stuck in the mental body. And guess what kind of havoc those trauma twins create, right? You guessed it. They act like little magnets, attracting to you more of the same over and over again, just as they did for Mary in her romantic relationships. You know those magnets that the law of attraction gurus talk about that attract to you what you want? Well, no, they don't. At least not unless and until you have first healed the trauma twins, which are currently running your life or ruining your life. So what do we do about the trauma twins? We go hunting tigers. And what I mean by that is we become aware of our triggers. We notice every single time that we have an experience or see something that makes us feel a certain way, and then we deep dive inside to discover the unfelt feeling and the unconscious belief, recognize the gift in the triggers, and heal what needs to be healed. Now, I know so many of us here have been doing the inner work. I know that. I feel it. I can see it in your fields. Healing our shadow, tapping and reikiing and crystalling and all the healing things. And we've been manifesting and law of attracting, and yet we're still struggling. We're still being blocked by our trauma and our past and all the reasons we can't do what we want to do. We are still living lives that don't match our courageous dreams. Raising your vibration through healing your past traumas is the most important thing that you must do so that you can be and then lead the change you came to make in the world. You need to rise into your courage. And it takes extraordinary levels of courage to step away from the past, to turn away from other people's expectations and judgments, to do the inner work you need to do so that you can be and then lead the change that you came to make in the world. Step into your courage to change your life, the lives of your family and friends, and perhaps even the whole entire world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Help me create the world that I saw in the future. It's inevitable. Come along for the ride. Be the change you want to see in the world. It starts with you.